Hello, hello, hello. How are we all doing today? The boys at Everstake just released an Atom staking report. And I know a 7-minute read is way too much for most of you, so I'm going to try and condense it in a few minutes. So let's get bloody into it. So this is the first graph that's kind of interesting. We can see over the last 2 years, delegations have increased from 100,000 to almost 500,000 for the Atom token. Now that's not a bad thing, but we do have to consider something important. What if people are using multiple wallets? While based on other statistics, such as Reddit followers, attention on Twitter and Discord, I would certainly argue there is a case for a lot more independent users. However, we can't guarantee how many individual owners own multiple wallets, and this may come across as unique delegators. So just bear that in mind. We can also see up to a point that total stake has massively increased up to a certain point during the bear market, but there has recently been some pushback with some tokens being unbonded and potentially sold. Now for me, both sides of this coin are very understandable, and I'll explain why in the next graph. During the bear market, Atom prices are very low, as we can see here. So some risk-averse investors might be buying Atom at this price only to stake it. So we can see there's quite an inverse relationship here. But that doesn't mean people won't liquidate through fear. As we know right now, businesses are failing, people are being laid off, government has tightened spending, interest rates have gone up, so borrowing is more expensive, which means less businesses are being created, which means less employment, which means other businesses are getting less profit and laying off workers. What we're seeing generally is a negative economic cycle. Consequently, people will need to cash in. What we're seeing at the UK at the moment is a lot of people have buy-to-let mortgages. And basically what they've been doing for a long time in the UK is they might buy a property, like this beautiful purple one here, rent it out and only pay the interest on the mortgage. So they're not paying for any equity in the property. And what they usually do is they keep that difference. And they do that with multiple properties, right? The problem is now those mortgage payments have increased substantially because of the Bank of England. So now this industry is less profitable, which leads people to sell, which leads house prices to go down. Also, because the cost of borrowing is higher, less people want to buy these houses. So avoiding too much complication with this graph, let's say that the original price was here at D1 and S1, that's demand 1 and S1. Okay, there's our price point. What we've seen is this demand line, this is the people buying houses, that has moved back. So everybody is less willing to buy properties at all prices. So at this point, we can see that the price has already gone down if this is our equilibrium. But we're also seeing as well that more people are trying to sell their properties because they're less profitable now. There's more profitable industries to get into. So the supply of houses on the market's gone up. So not only have we moved from here, 0.1 to 0.2, now we're at 0.3. So what we're seeing is a substantial reduction in the house prices. But anyway, I can't even remember how I got onto that segue. Back to crypto. Oh yeah, I was explaining why there might have been some sell-offs here. Also, what's important to note basically is there's an inverse relationship between staking and APY. I've tried to talk about this a lot in the past, but basically the staked ratio is basically the total number of tokens that are staked in relation to the total number of tokens in circulation. So it looks at about 60% at the moment. So basically at the moment, the total inflation of Atom tokens is 15.22% a year. So in 1 year from now, there'll be 15.22% more Atom tokens in circulation. What happens is the less bonded tokens there are, the higher this staking APR will get, because this inflation is only given to the people that have bonded tokens. And the reason why they do this is because if less people are bonding, it makes the chains less secure. So they want to entice people to stake/bond their tokens, right? This is how they try and guarantee security of tokens. So the more people that stake, the lower this will go. And as we can see, this graph shows that inverse relationship between APY and stake ratio. As we can see, inflation has jumped up quite highly in recent years. And let's hope this isn't too much of an upwards trend. As we know, an increase in inflation will increase the number of tokens, but if future investments do not equal that increase, then the total value will go down of our assets. However, down the line, I do expect a lot of interest towards the Atom token and the Cosmos Hub with all the new features with interchain security coming out and whatnot. Let's see. Another thing I found interesting on this report is the staking distribution between the top validators. We can see that the Cosmos is still quite heavily centralized, with the 11 biggest validators having around 47% of the voting power. That is, of course, if you as an individual don't vote. Over the next few years, in the interest of decentralization, this number is certainly going to need to decrease. And what I'm worried about is when interchain security kicks in, with the increasing complexity and upkeep costs for validators, it might push out a few of the smaller ones that can no longer afford to maintain. If that's the case, it might actually increase centralization. And as we know, one of the core fundamental aims of the Cosmos Hub is to be decentralized. So this needs to be looked at seriously and resolutions need to be made if this situation continues to exacerbate. What I did find interesting about validator power is there is a massive decrease here in the amount of delegations towards game. Can anybody remember why? The Juno whale drama, where the Japanese gentleman behind the scenes distributed multiple Juno to a series of wallets and was able to claim massive airdrop rewards. This of course caused a lot of controversy and a lot of voting at the time, and a lot of people voted with their wallets and they changed delegators, as we can see here. However, we can see in recent times they've actually managed to increase their number of delegations, so they have recovered. Also, we can see Stakefish has gone from strength to strength over the years. And finally, we can see that less than 20% of stakers are redelegating duplicating their rewards. Now, why is this important, you might ask? Well, let's say you stake it, and the staking rewards are 20% a year. So after 1 year, cool, you've put 100 atoms in, you now have 20 atoms. And that's all you would have if you didn't restake it. However, if you restake it daily, so by this I mean you get 0.05 atom a day. So on day 1, this is what you'd have. So putting this rate of 0.054 daily into the compound interest calculator, we would see that actually, rather than just 20% extra atom, you'd have 21.93%, which is 2% more. And this can actually mean a lot to returns given the current economic climate. For those lazy sausages among us, what we can do is go to restake.app, connect your wallet here, and some validators can automatically restake your atom for you daily. So you don't need to worry about it once it's done, and you can get that lovely, sweet extra 2%. Delicious. Ultimately, I understand that some people also want to remain fluid. The unbonding time is about 2 weeks. So if there's any jumps in the market, you might want to sell quickly. I understand that completely. Yeah, and I think it's nice to have a bit of both, isn't it? Like a ratio of bonded to unbonded. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to look at today. Cheers to Everstake for making this. We at Tedcrypto love it when people are doing stuff for the cosmos with new software, analytics, generally making the world a better place. So yeah, definitely got to say thanks to EcoStake as well for making life as easy as possible. And also I forgot to mention the validators will pay the transaction fees. So yeah, pretty damn efficient if you ask me. Well, that was an interesting bit of research today. That's it from me, James at Cryptoconsh. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you again.